Hi, I'm Tyson Franklin, and welcome to this week's episode of Podiatry Marketing. I am joined again by my co-host, Jim McDannald, over in Canada. Good morning/evening, Jim. How are you doing today?
Things are good here on the other side of the world, Tyson. I was curious whether or not you've had a chance to see the new Matrix movie or not.
No,
Okay.
I haven't yet.
We'll have to do it before
I
the
have
next
not seen
episode
it.
because I have not seen it either.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't go to the cinema very often. And because of, in Australia at the moment, they've got all these COVID restrictions, and you used to have to wear a mask but once you were there, you were fine. But now you're supposed to wear it all the time, unless you're eating. And I reckon I could make a carton of popcorn last a 2-hour movie easily. So it defeats the purpose. But I know it comes so quickly to either the streaming services. I reckon if I wait 2 months, it will probably be on Netflix.
Yeah, for sure. I just thought we'd check in. I'm sure the listeners are really curious whether we've watched it or yet.
Oh, I reckon they're just chewing at the bit. They're dying to know what we do in our spare time. So today, Jim, I'm handing it over to you. We are talking about podiatry clinic SEO, that scary word.
Yeah, the SEO thing is something that's a little obtuse, what is that as far as, so the letters obviously stand for search engine optimization. And then what even is that, right?
I know sometimes I think some people they come up with stuff just to confuse us.
It's confusing, but I think now that we live in a search engine first world, people are Googling like everything known to man. What am I going to eat? How far away is the sun from Earth? All kinds of random stuff on Google. Like Google has become that, and I wouldn't say a source of truth, but a source of answering all these questions that we used to ask mom and dad about or look in the encyclopedia about. So
yeah, remember that they had that shirt for a while that I don't need Google. My wife knows everything. But now Google is, like you said, it is the go-to place for any question. And I would probably ask it 3 or 4 really obscure things every single day that just pop into my head.
Yeah, like I sometimes ask, what time is it in Cairns, Australia? So I get a general sense of,
Cairns, Australia.
I'm bad.
Cans. Yeah, just think there's a can on the ground and you've kicked a whole pile of cans.
Yeah, so cans. I'll ask Siri or I'll ask Google sometimes, what time is it in Cairns? And it gives that back to me. But I think a lot of people these days as well are asking Dr. Google, right? If they have a problem with their foot, a problem with their ankle, any other kind of healthcare problem, they're asking that. And what's happening is that people put in that search query into the search box. They click search, and Google is trying to basically deliver the most relevant results to a person. And that's what this kind of SEO is like. How do you become either in the local area of the search or in the first 10 links? How do you end up in that top 3 for your clinic, for the care you want to provide? This is where that kind of search engine optimization comes into play.
Yeah. Didn't they say, do you know that joke? Where's the best place to hide a dead body?
Page 2 of Google results.
Page 2 of Google, yes, because no one gets there. Now, once you get through page 1, you don't go to page 2. What does a podiatrist need to do if they're in a particular area and there might be 10, 15, 20 podiatrists in their area? What do they need to do to actually get on page 1, other than, click on one of the links from the 150 emails they get every month from someone who can get them on page 1?
Yeah, all those get on page 1, all the cold calls, all those work. So like you should just jump on top of those as soon as possible. No, yes.
Yeah, and budget for everyone.
For sure. No, I would say that it's important to break down that kind of what we call the search engine results page. Obviously, when you type in podiatrist Cairns or podiatrist Chicago, it's looking at that search engine results page and understanding the different areas where your clinic or your services can be visible. The top area for most searches like that is what we call, it's basically the map or kind of the local pack. So there'll be a map that has the little pins where it shows all those local podiatrists based off your geolocation, right? So if I'm in downtown Chicago, it's going to show me podiatrists in that area. If I have a podiatrist near me, but if I'm looking somewhere else, if I'm in Chicago and I'm looking podiatrist New York, it's obviously going to show me maps there. But
okay, so when you say geolocation, what do you mean?
So like your computer, your cell phone has a unique, what we call IP address. So your phone knows where in the world it is, and it relays that information to Google. So by typing in podiatrist near me, either your IP address through the GPS or just through the network you're currently on with your phone, will tell Google this person is in downtown Chicago. So show them podiatrists in downtown because that's what they're asking for.
Okay. Oh, just in case somebody was
No,
wondering.
no, I think it's important to realize that. And this is sometimes what podiatrists run into problems with as well, is that not only does it know where you're located, but since you're searching on Google, it knows about all of your past searches and has a history of that in their database.
Ooh.
So let's say you're like,
Although,
if you're vanity searching yourself, not only for podiatry reasons, but for other reasons probably as well, Tyson. If you're always searching for podiatrist Chicago and you are a podiatrist Chicago, and then you click on your link or you're clicking on certain things, like you're going to get a skewed version of Google compared to someone who's never searched on that topic before and has never clicked on the links. Google will show unique results to each different person. So it can be beneficial to turn on that private browser or the incognito mode if you're searching in your local area, so you can have kind of a fresh look as far as what's happening when those Google search happens. But like I said, that first section is really that local area. And the way you get in that local area is it's usually by proximity. So if you are closer to, let's say you're like on the border of Chicago, but you're in a suburb, you're probably not going to show up in those Chicago searches. If you want to be in those searches, like being physically located, that can be helpful. But also sometimes building out pages on your website that show you take care of patients who live in Chicago or you serve patients from that city can be one way of showing up higher, even in an area where you don't necessarily have a physical location.
Okay, so what do people actually need to do on the website, or is it on certain pages? Is it in blog articles? What do they need to do to be more optimized?
Yeah, to be more optimized. Like I said, so that local spot on top is the local one, and then there's the general results, those kind of top 10 on the first page. So to show up in that first area, really having a built out, what used to be called Google My Business Profile, they've recently changed that to Google Business Profile. But this is where your Google reviews will live, where you can put your hours, your contact information. When you search like the name of your clinic, this Google My Business, or what used to be called Google My Business, now called Google Business Profile, will show up in the bottom right hand of the results. So if you type in, back when you had a clinic, right? Like the name of your clinic, you type it exactly, it should show up there. And you control all that information based off of a good Google Business Profile listing. So either you, your staff, or somebody you hire really needs to optimize that Google Business Profile listing to make sure you're showing up in the maps and that the information, the photos you have are relevant and engaging to the patients you want to bring into your practice. The second part of it, or the organic section of Google, we haven't even talked about the ads section, which usually is at the very top. We're going to skip that for now. We'll talk about that in a future podcast. But the organic section, or the area we care most about, that top 3 or top 10, what's important there to realize is that usually the top 3 results get about 80% of all the clicks. The first result will get about 50% of the clicks. Spot 2 gets about 20. The next spot gets about 10, and then it's less and less as you go down those top 10. And the way you show up there is by having relevant content on your website. Cairns Podiatrist, Chicago Podiatrist, having pages on your website that are optimized for those search terms are what's going to lead you to ranking high for those local-based terms.
Can we get back one step? I just want to get back one step before we talk about optimizing on the website. Back to the Google Business Profile. How often should you, because there's a section there where you can add photos, you can add videos, you can change your business, a product or an event. How often should you be adding information into your Google Business Profile?
That's a great question.
Because it's free. It's free. It's just sitting there. So does Google give you a pat on the back if you keep adding stuff, or does it not matter?
It's hugely important to make sure that that you have relevant and updated materials there. And there's some different ways you can interact within that Google Business Profile kind of administrative section. One is like you're talking about, is that you need to make sure that your holiday hours are accurate, right? If someone has a bad user experience or complains to Google that you didn't change it and you weren't open when you said you were, they can ding you for that. Also, like I said, the Google reviews lives within this Google Business Profile, and making sure that you're providing, whether it be a positive or negative review, a personalized response to every single review that comes in, whether it's a 1-star or a 5-star. You need to respond to all those reviews that come in. And that's the kind of free way, or the free area where you can do that as well. And the third spot is they used to be called Google My Business Posts, but you can actually post offers that you have, your services, anything that's relevant, and maybe you're having a partnership with a physio clinic down the road, there's ways to highlight yourself and others in these Google posts, which Google sees as an important signal. There's some question whether or not that's going to lead to higher rankings or not, but playing well within the Google ecosystem is generally going to be rewarded by higher rankings and more visibility in Google search and other platforms.
Okay. Once a week? I know, because I asked you a question about how often. So it should just be weekly. You should just be posting something just to keep it.
I think definitely a week, being your eyes on the prize, like at least once a week can be helpful. You do have ways of setting up notifications when you do get new reviews. So that might be a nice trigger for you or for your staff or someone you work with. If you're actively requesting reviews, you should probably get 4 to 10 a week, depending on like the kind of patients you have coming into your practice. And then when you come in to respond to those reviews, it's an opportunity to like make sure your hours are updated, the contact information is good, and then maybe do a once a week or once every 2 week Google post about something that's happening in your practice.
Okay, that's good. That's what I wanted to hear. It's only because I actually have a Google business profile set up for myself. Just Tyson E. Franklin, Podiatry Business Coach. And I've been trying to remind myself to be active, to keep putting stuff on that. But I've noticed the more I've put on the Google business profile, the more often I've had people say, "Oh, I was searching for something and I found you."
That's the thing. It's like Google's a bit of a racket, right? It's a very powerful platform to be on, but they want to keep people inside of their platform, and they want people to interact with the different ways that they have available. They don't want you to send traffic or send people away from Google. They want to keep everybody on their ecosystem and seeing ads to help further their business model in a way.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, back onto the website.
Yeah, so back to that organic section. Like we talked about, there's obviously different types of keywords that different podiatry practices want to show up for. I think the first step before you just jump in and do SEO or try to do it yourself is obviously knowing where you're located at, or knowing where your best patients come from, and having pages built out that speak directly to those patients. And then those pages can be used both organically and also act as a landing page for ad campaigns in the future if you choose to. It's also, like we talked about previously, what do you get the most excitement out of in your practice, right? Depending on what type of area you live in, you want to make sure that the content you have on your website, whether if you want to treat heel pain, if you want to be a forefoot surgeon, if you want to do bunion surgery, you need to have very authoritative pages and quality information, sometimes even video on those pages that will keep people on that page and viewing your content. Because when you install Google Analytics on your website, what happens is that the information about people having their web browser on this page on your website is being collected all the time by Google. And if they see that someone is going from google.com and it's a relevant result and they're staying for minutes or 5 or 10 minutes on a page or on a website, they're much more likely to rank that page higher than someone that tricks them or isn't authentic or has a bad website.
Oh, yeah.
And they spend 10 seconds, they don't like it, they go directly back to Google and do the next one. That's a strong signal to Google that you are not worthy of being on the first page or even the top 3. So you need to have engaging content that talks to your patients, and obviously the kind of patients you want to have come into your practice.
Yeah, I've seen that when people have done Google ads, for example, and you'll be searching for something and there's an ad right at the top that says exactly what it is that you're searching for. And you go, awesome. You click on that and it goes to something that's totally irrelevant to what it is that you're looking for. And you very quickly, as soon as you get it, you get the shits and you get straight off of it. So Google can see if people come to your site, or your page, and bang, they get out there within 5 seconds, that Google goes, oh, that must
It's like the magic triad of Google. It's the words you type into Google have keywords or words that are relevant to what you're looking for. The link that pops up in the search results that is relevant based off the search you made, and you click on it and you go to a page that is exactly what you look for. So then the more time you spend on that page or in that website, Google has ways of tracking all of those signals. So it's going to reward good content or good user experiences, they like to call it, and rank you higher over time in that way. But that's just the way
it makes sense. It just makes sense though. Yeah, it's no different to if somebody came to me and said, oh, could you recommend an optometrist? And I said, this is where you need to go. And the person went there and had a great experience. Then that makes me feel good that I've actually helped that person. And the next person asks me, I'll do it again. But if I referred someone to an optometrist and person came back to me and said, they were crap. They were rude. They smelt. They had no teeth. Yeah, I don't like them. Then straight away, I'm not going to refer anybody else there. And that's exactly what happens with pages. Google will refer someone to a page. And if someone leaves there very fast, Google's going, now I look bad that I sent you to that
It's a
page.
feedback loop, exactly like you're saying, right? It's either a positive feedback loop or it's a negative feedback loop that Google will measure and then make those ranking adjustments as needed. And so that's really important. Like I said, though, like the words matter, but also, like I said, video, having images that are engaging, because even if you have the most keywords, and you see this a lot sometimes, you'll see businesses or even clinics sometimes try to what they call keyword stuff, right? It won't even make sense reading it. There's just so many keywords like podiatrist, foot doctor, name of city, and there's no relevant information that helps the user or the person. And they're going to bounce from that, even though maybe you have amazing keywords. So it has to what they call user intent. It has to meet that intent and be relevant to what they're looking for. And there's different ways of incorporating that. Like some of it is that written video or the kind of layers you can see. And there's almost an invisible layer of SEO that you don't see called schema markup. And what this is basically like, there's all the stuff that on WordPress, or I use a plugin called Yoast, which is helpful to help build out some of the schema markup and the kind of invisible signals that you can also send to Google to say, this page is about this thing, or this page is about this podiatrist in this city. And it just sends more signals to them to make you more relevant to help you rank higher. There's a lot of like, they call black hat or kind of scammy ways in the past to try to get people to come to your website. Let's build out 10 different websites and I'll link to this one central website, and that's going to work. And it used to work back in the day. I still see sometimes people using this to this day, called like a private virtual network of sites. But it's really about having a helpful website that speaks to your patient, that's SEO optimized, which is going to lead to people with a strong call to action to call the clinic or to make an appointment, which is going to really help the clinic in the long run.
So if you were a business that wanted more orthotic patients, then you should be writing a lot of blog articles, have frequently asked questions, have evergreen articles, what orthotics are, and all the different things that people could be. The questions that people are asking about orthotics. Can orthotics help me with this? Can I wear orthotics in this type of shoe? Just so many different things, and just making sure the word orthotic is used in many different ways. And not just the word orthotic, probably arch support, foot supports, different terminology, because people will search for
for sure. I think there's some different opportunities there. I think the foundation for SEO for a clinic website to start off with is having what I would call these hub pages or these diagnosis or procedure-based pages first. So you want to have a very authoritarian piece about if it's plantar fasciitis. In that article, you're saying what it is, like what are the risk factors, how do people get it, how do you treat it, what are the frequently asked questions about it, what should you ask your podiatrist, all in a central article initially. You don't have to go, it doesn't have to be 1,000 words or be an encyclopedia about it, but it has to be very relevant. So if you do go, once you get past that level, if you want to be the orthotic expert, then you're building maybe some blog articles that are, maybe you had an athlete come in that didn't mind you mentioning them, or you're treating like a university running team and you're using orthotics. And like you said, maybe you're talking about that experience, you casted orthotics, you treated a sprained ankle, and you have those words linked back to that main orthotic page that you've already built. So it's relevant, right? It's not just like a spammy link that's trying to get them tricked into making an appointment. They are curious to know more about what an orthotic is, or the way that what problems an orthotic treats in a way. So it's a good kind of customer journey or a patient journey to help them learn about those different treatment options available and different tactics being used with blog articles. But I think not enough podiatry clinics, at least initially, are building up these authoritative pages about diagnosis or procedures. They're just jumping straight to one-off blog articles, which like might generate some traffic. Let's say like when Tiger Woods got injured, like everyone wanted to write up about lower leg injuries or talar fractures and just try to pray that they were the page that like was in the top 3 or top 10 and get some traffic for that. But when you write pages about that, you're going to get a ton of irrelevant links and clicks from people that are on the other side of the world. So you're best off being locally relevant with your SEO strategy before you go after these big kind of like international or even national or even local stories that aren't relevant to someone making an appointment in your clinic.
So what you're thinking on different blog articles you've written on your business, like on your website, to then have links to other pages around your website to try and keep them on your website longer.
I think that can be helpful. To me, like at least initially, until you have all those pages built out, a blog is more of an opportunity to talk about what's happening in your clinic. You can mention some of your services in those blog post articles. Maybe you've got a new device or a new way to treat something, and then there's opportunities to link there. There's local partnerships with a physio. Maybe like they're sending you patients for plantar fasciitis, you're sending them some stuff, and you can highlight those different services, not only for yourself and for others. Internal linking, like you're talking about, is important, but these external links are also important. Other websites in a genuine fashion, an authentic way, linking back to your website will also help you rank higher. The more outside websites that say that Tyson Franklin Podiatry Legends podcast is so much better than Podiatry Marketing podcast, or more links to that, is going to put that higher for certain terms. Or
so are you talking backlinks?
Yeah, we're talking back. Yeah, we're talking about
places.
backlinks or external links from authoritative stuff. And there's shady stuff that can happen there as well. But when you have these genuine backlinks from other websites that are relevant to to what you provide, the local chamber of commerce, other clinics, hospitals, local kind of like directories, those things can be hugely beneficial to the SEO of a website.
Okay. So before we wrap up, are there any other tools that people should be looking at to help them out with this?
Yeah, I think there's some different tools that can be helpful. I think there's something called GT Metrics, which is a free tool that helps you learn about your page speed and like how fast your website loads and grades. So this is gtmetrics.com with an X. It can be a helpful way to see how your website's ranking when it comes to speed, because how a website is used from a mobile perspective, and we'll jump into that at some point. Maybe we'll have a mobile website podcast, but as more people are on their phones, you have to have both a great desktop and mobile experience. As my light.
No, isn't there nothing worse? Nothing worse than when you're on your phone, you go to a website, you go, oh yeah, you click on that, and it is their website, which is exactly their desktop version on your phone, and you're going, squinting down, you can't see anything. You're trying to zoom it up and you go, and some of them, it just surprises you who the businesses are.
Yes. No, they should, but it's just like you're busy in your practice, right? People are busy doing other things. They don't have time to like troubleshoot how their website looks like on a mobile phone or a different type of device, whether an Android or an iPhone. GT Metrics is good. There is a website called Mobile Moxie, which can be helpful to like get a general sense of where you're ranking or what keywords you're ranking locally. But those are some of the ones that I think can be helpful. I'll put some more in the show notes that I use with my clients so people can play around with them a little bit just to see. Whitespark is another one that can be used to, track local rankings. But yeah, there's all kinds of tools. There's all kinds of expensive SEO tools you can use, but any SEO specialist you work with should have those in their arsenal so they can build out, whether it be keywords or SEO campaigns that are going to benefit your clinic results.
Okay, that's cool. So I'm just looking at the time. I think it's time to wrap up this particular episode, Jim. So thank you for sharing your knowledge on the SEO. And if people want to know more about SEO, they can easily just reach out to you because you're the SEO.
Yeah, they can reach out, or like I said, on the website, we'll have some good links to some resources for people to just do a little bit of a deep dive into their own website to see how things are going.
Okay, cool. So I'll talk again next week, Jim.
See you, Tyson.
See ya.